Carl Dixon wasn't having any of Nick White's antics during the Bledisloe Cup clash between the All Blacks and Wallabies. Australia's experienced scrum half, Nick White, who's known for his non-stop chatter, found himself on the wrong side of the ref's patience during the Rugby Championship showdown. It all went down when the Wallabies were desperately trying to mount a comeback against New Zealand, trailing 14-31 in the final moments of the game. White, clearly frustrated, thought the All Blacks line-out throw was off. He was adamant that Cody Taylor's throw to Artie Savia at the front wasn't straight and made sure everyone heard him, yelling not straight," at referee Carl Dixon. White tried to get the ref to call it, but no dice. The All Blacks pressed on, and though the Wallabies managed to turn the ball over and clear it out, that wasn't the end of the drama. If you are a fan of All Blacks, go All Blacks in the comments and subscribe to the channel. A few moments later, after another play, White was at it again, begging for a penalty after he thought Sam Cane entered the ruck illegally. But ref Carl Dixon wasn't in the mood to take any more backseat refereeing. He called for an Australian scrum after an All Blacks knock-on at the lineout and then turned to White for a stern warning. Dixon, a former Harlequins fly-half himself, looked right at White and said, "I know you're frustrated, but you don't need to explain the game to me. I'll be the ref, you be the 9. If you shout at me again, I'll penalize you. It's your scrum, thank you enough." The moment quickly went viral, with fans loving the way Dixon handled the situation. White, who missed the test matches against Argentina but came back to start this game, just couldn't spark enough magic to lead his team to victory. The Wallabies put up a valiant effort, narrowing the score to 28-31 after a huge comeback, but it wasn't enough to steal the win. It's also worth mentioning this isn't the first time White has clashed with referees. Earlier in the Rugby Championship, he was given a cheeky not today by ref Paul Williams during the Wallabies match against the Springboks. Seems like White's reputation for his non-stop commentary precedes him. In the end, while White's chatty approach didn't pay off, the All Blacks held on to claim a thrilling victory in Sydney, retaining the Bledisloe Cup and continuing their dominance. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay updated with all things All Blacks. We've got more epic moments, match analysis, and behind-the-scenes content coming your way. If you love this kind of content, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a beat. What did you think about the way Carl Dixon handled Nick White? Was it fair? Let us know in the comments. Wallabies v All Blacks. 5 key takeaways as Australia nearly avoids a disaster after All Blacks slow down in a thrilling Bledisloe showdown. The All Blacks triumphed over the Wallabies 31-28 in a thrilling Bledisloe Cup match, but it wasn't as easy as it first seemed. The All Blacks raced to an explosive start, grabbing a 21-point lead within just 15 minutes. Will Jordan sparked the charge with a searing break through Australia's shaky defense, followed by Rico Ione and Caleb Clark piling on the pressure. It looked like Scott Robertson's squad was in for a runaway win, but Australia wasn't ready to roll over. After a brilliant set play at the lineout, Fraser McReight crossed for the Wallabies' first points, a real highlight of their day. However, just when they thought they could breathe, Artie Savia hit back for the visitors, extending New Zealand's lead again. The Wallabies managed to grab one more before halftime with Matt Fessler powering through from a rolling maul. If you're a fan of the All Blacks, go All Blacks in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. At the break, the All Blacks were up 28-14, and Damian McKenzie added to that with a penalty right after halftime. But then things changed. The Wallabies fought their way back into the match, helped by some tough officiating calls and key tries from Hunter Paisami and Tom Wright. Australia had a real shot at snatching a win near the end, but the All Blacks dug deep to hold them off and secure a crucial victory, keeping the Bledisloe Cup and avoiding what could have been a humiliating collapse. The win means the All Blacks retain the Bledisloe Cup, a trophy they've held since 2003, and while the victory was significant, New Zealand's performance in the second half raised some concerns. As Australia came close to flipping the game on its head, there are definitely areas to improve. The match showcased Joe Schmidt's coaching brilliance. When given the right platform, he can unleash world-class set plays that slice through defenses like butter. We saw this when Fraser McReight scored from that perfect line-out play. But there's a big difference between Schmidt's former teams, Leinster, Ireland, and even New Zealand, And the Wallabies right now Australia's set-piece game isn't consistent enough. If they want to be real contenders, they need to tighten up their lineouts and scrums. That said, Schmidt will surely be pleased with how his team fought back from a dire position in the early stages. They showed grit and determination. Fraser McRae, chosen over Carlo Tizzano, proved why he's worthy of that trust. And Hunter Piasamus' try gave Australia a chance to take the game in the dying moments. Harry Wilson was another standout performer, showing why many believe Schmidt might have overlooked him too soon in July. What really stood out about Australia's effort was their willingness to keep fighting after that early blitz by the All Blacks, a massive change from their heads-dropping performance against Argentina. Now, the Wallabies weren't alone in having a drop-off. Robertson's All Blacks also fell off the pace in the final quarter. In fact, after a Mackenzie penalty at the 45-minute mark, New Zealand didn't add any more points. It was almost as if the team had only 45 minutes of fight in them. We've seen it before this season. The All Blacks struggle to maintain their intensity for the full 80 minutes. They start hot but then fade, and against tougher teams that's a real risk. Today, the All Blacks were good enough to scrape by, but there were moments when Australia looked like they might steal the show. New Zealand needs to address their consistency if they want to beat the top sides in the world. Sure, they were missing key players like Ethan de Groot and Jordy Barrett in the second half due to injuries, but blaming replacements like Tamati Williams and Anton Lienert-Brown doesn't feel right. Complacency, leadership, and stepping up in crucial moments are bigger concerns. The All Blacks bench struggled again, unable to make the impact needed to close out the game convincingly. And if Razor Robertson can't solve this, it could continue to haunt the All Blacks in bigger matches. Still, there are bright spots, particularly in the breakdown. The All Blacks dominated this area, with players like Sam Cane, Artie Savia, Scott Barrett, Tyrell Lomax, Tupou Vai, and young Wallace Satiti making crucial contributions. Satiti, in particular, was a revelation. There were doubts about his inclusion in the squad earlier in the season, but he's proven his doubters wrong, putting in a fantastic performance that helped New Zealand secure turnovers at key moments. Forget about the jersey number. She's a star, not just for the future but for right now. From the Wallabies' perspective, their defense was a mess in the first 15 minutes. They left gaping holes that players like Will Jordan had no trouble exploiting. Missed tackles, disorganized defense. It was the kind of start that could have led to a massive blowout. Thankfully, they found some resolve and tightened up as the game went on. For the All Blacks, though, the second-half penalties were a red flag. Test rugby is all about building pressure and avoiding unnecessary penalties. But New Zealand struggled with this as Australia mounted their comeback. Anton Lienert-Brown's yellow card and Caleb Clark's knockdown, which led to another yellow, almost cost them the game. Going down to 13 men when you're already on the back foot is dangerous, and Robertson will need to address this. In the end, the All Blacks got the win, but it wasn't pretty. Robertson will be relieved to retain the Bledisloe Cup, but he'll also be wary of the fact that better teams might have finished them off today. Australia, for their part, will feel like they were close and will be out for revenge in the next match. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat on the All Blacks channel. What did you think of the game? Do the All Blacks need to worry about these second-half dips? Let us know in the comments.